Todd Family YouTube video, wherever you are, whatever you may be doing. Thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. Believe it or not, I haven't wrote anything down tonight because I don't have a main topic. I'm not planning on being on here for a long time tonight, being that it's almost midnight on the East Coast. But now, if you get on here live and leave a comment, I might go for a while, but my intention is to not go very long tonight. But if you do jump on here live, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Make sure you give the video a like and a thumbs up if you have not yet subscribed. Please do so. It helps the channel out tremendously, and it's 100% free, and you can't beat that. But I wanted to come over here tonight and just say that I was back at SWA tonight at 244 Livestock Road, East Denali, Georgia. It was our last show before our big show, which comes up in 2 weeks. It's called Resurrection, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's what it's called. But we announced tonight that coming up in 2 weeks, we're going to have a cage match, and we're going to have a ladder match. So if you live in North Georgia, Northeast Georgia, or the upstate of South Carolina, I suggest you get ready to be at 244 Livestock Road, East Denali, Georgia, in 2 weeks. Hey there, Heck and Rick, glad to have you here. Hey there, Marcus, glad to have you here. I'm doing fantastic on this Saturday night all across the U.S. Hey, I'm so glad you are here. I don't recognize your username unless you have changed it, but nevertheless, if you have changed it, glad you're back. If you have not changed it and you're just new, I'm glad you're here. Make sure you give the video a like and a thumbs up. And if you have not yet subscribed, please do so. But tonight we had 6 matches. A lot of guys came tonight that are from the South Carolina area, but East Denali, Georgia is not very far from the state line in South Carolina, so it's kind of easy to be in South Carolina and Georgia, or vice versa, in the same night because they're so close together. I was invited tonight to go to a show in South Carolina. I might go there in the next few weeks. If so, all of you that watch the channel that live in South Carolina hopefully will come to the show that night, and I'll be able to meet some of you. I'm looking forward to it. But in 2 weeks, we're having a cage match and a ladder match same night. Hey there, Jalen. Glad to have you here. I have not heard your thoughts yet on Ohio State winning the national championship. I talked about it here on the channel that, I thought Ohio State would win because I thought they were the better team. I just wanted a good game. And, Notre Dame got the ball first, and, man, they drove right down the field and used up about 10 minutes of the first quarter clock, and they scored a touchdown. And I thought, well, this might be a good game after all. And then it showed Riley Leonard over on the sidelines, who was already pretty much sick because he ran the ball, I think, 9 times on their first drive, and he used up all the gas he had. And then Ohio State kind of dominated for a while, and I thought, man, this is going to be a blowout. And then Notre Dame finally started making that comeback, and I was glad because I had no dog in the fight. I didn't care who won, but nobody wants to sit back and watch a national championship game and it be 45-10. And there was a time in quarter number 2 before the half, I thought, man, this game is going to be 45-10. But then the Irish finally started coming back, so it went about how I expected. But, I really don't like either team, but I really don't hate either team. So I really didn't care who won. I just wanted a good game. Now, I used to despise Notre Dame. I couldn't stand them because I feel like they get catered to, and I don't like teams that get catered to. But something about Marcus Freeman, his coaching style, his coaching philosophy, makes it where you might not become a fan of the Irish, but it's hard to hate them. So I'm kind of neutral on them. I'm also neutral on the Buckeyes. So I didn't care who won. I just want to see a good game. And we did. It was a very good game. But hopefully, some of you that live in South Carolina, I'll get to see you coming up here. Whenever I go to South Carolina and do a show, I will, as I always do, let you know ahead of time. And for all you wrestling fans, it's a good night because now that it's Saturday night, it means we're 1 week away from the Royal Rumble. And this is the first time in a while that I can recall that it doesn't seem predictable, which is good because you don't want predictability. Well, Jalen, I hate that your Lions got beat, but, I said back in November that I thought the big game was going to be the Eagles and the Bills, and I still feel that way. And the only reason I said that was because the Bills finally beat the Chiefs in the regular season. So I feel like if they can beat them in the regular season, they can beat them in the playoffs. But I also picked the Eagles out of the NFC because, the Lions have been just dreadfully, woefully bad for 50 years. And then all of a sudden they have one good season last year. And now this year when the season starts, they're going to the big game. And it's just hard for me to believe that a team can be as bad as they were for as long as they were to have one good season and all of a sudden you're going to the big game. I just didn't believe it. To me, you've got to have more than one good year, not just a flash in the pan. And what the Lions did last year was a flash in the pan. Now, if they come out next year and they're just as good, maybe I'll take them serious. But just because they had a really good year last year, their 145 years of being bad was a whole lot, more consistent than them having one good year of being good. Hey there, Daniel. Glad you're here tonight. And I tell you what, Daniel, you're talking about the Ravens. There's going to come a time, and I don't know what his contract looks like. I really don't know. But there's going to come a time where more than likely you're probably going to see John Harbaugh lose his job because you're not going to run off Lamar Jackson. And you see all the time now with these professional, teams, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, or whatever, if you have what you think is your franchise player, whatever sport it is, whether it's your point guard, whether it's your starting pitcher, whether it's your center fielder, no matter the case, or in this situation, the quarterback, when you've got who you think is your franchise player, and then you have your coach, and all of a sudden your franchise player is not helping you win, well, you're not going to run off the person that you think is your franchise player. So what happens is the coach gets fired. Now, I personally wouldn't fire John Harbaugh. I think John Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. But every year the Ravens are supposed to be so good, and every year they are good, but then every year come playoffs, they fizzle out. But the problem is, I just think, even though I think the Ravens got better on offense by signing Derrick Henry, the problem is I still think the Bills are better and the Chiefs are better. So I don't think the Ravens are losing because Harbaugh's a bad coach. I think the Ravens are losing because the Bills are better and the Chiefs are better. But the problem is, if you're the Ravens, how dumb do you look by letting Lamar Jackson go or trading him? Hey there, Austin. Glad you're here because that's going to make you look like you're, the absolute biggest buffoon in the NFL. So you have to keep Lamar Jackson. But if you keep Lamar Jackson and you keep John Harbaugh, then it looks like you're happy just being consistently good. Jalen, the problem with the Lions last week was that their defense was awful. And I don't think Stafford would have made the defense better. You didn't lose that game because you only scored 12 points. You lost that game because you couldn't stop the other team. And they've had that issue now since about middle of the season. And now they just lost one of their coordinators to become a head coach. So now there's a chance next year might come around. You might have a new coordinator on both sides of the ball. SWA was fantastic, Austin. I kicked off the video talking about SWA because we had a lot of new guys tonight. We had Mayhem McQueen. He made his SWA debut. We had Teo make his SWA debut. We had One Man Army make his SWA debut. We had Connor Drake make his SWA debut. Now, we had Cat Daddy, who has been with us before, but it has been a while. But the other guys I just mentioned all made their SWA debuts tonight, so I always like seeing new faces. So I was glad all those guys came. So the show was absolutely fantastic. Probably the best show and the most fun I've had at a wrestling show in probably 7 or 8 months. So I really, really enjoyed it. It was a great, fantastic show. But I reffed 6 matches, Austin. We had 6, and I reffed all of them. So that's why I always say that refereeing keeps me in shape, because we had 6 matches, and I got to ref all of them. The most matches I've ever reffed in one night, I believe, to my knowledge, is 9, I think. Maybe 10, but I think it was 9. And that was 2010 or 2011. So it's been a long, long, long time ago. But I did it one time, ref either 9 or 10 matches in one night. But tonight we had 6 because we had a contract signing for 2 big matches we have coming up in 2 weeks. You were late to the party, Austin. So I talked about in 2 weeks we're going to have a cage match, and we're going to have a ladder match. The cage match is going to be for our New Blood Championship, and the ladder match is going to be for our Premier Championship. And Jalen, that's what I was talking about, was Ben Johnson taking the job with the Bears. And I knew it was a matter of time before he took a job somewhere. He's been one of those names now for the last couple of years that every time a job comes open, he's one of the names that always gets brought up. So I knew it was just a matter of time before he took a job somewhere. And I guess he finally decided on the Bears job. I think he'll be better than the Bears' last coach, because their last coach was an absolute moron. But I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams being as good as they think he's going to be. I guess we'll find out soon enough. We'll find out in time, but I'm still not convinced that he's the be-all, end-all like they think he is. But I do think Ben Johnson's better than their last coach. Their last coach was a buffoon. But any thoughts on any of this, please feel free to let me know. I guess I'll go ahead and make my predictions, since the 2 games are coming up later on today, now that it's after midnight on the East Coast. And I've already said my big game prediction is the Bills and the Eagles. So obviously that means I think the Bills and the Eagles win today. The Bills have just been so close to the Chiefs so many times and just can't pull one off. And they finally done it in the regular season. And I know that the regular season don't mean as much as the playoffs do. I understand that. But that game at least showed the Bills that they can beat the Chiefs. And the Chiefs' offense just hasn't been as good this year as it has been in the past. But I think the Bills win, and I think the Eagles win. But let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. Bread is like the sun. It rises in the east and sets in the west. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like In pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of three. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.